And yes, Mancini has officially renewed his contract until 2027. You know what? I'm very happy when it comes to this renewal of contract because I will be honest with you, I really like Mancini. I like Mancini because you can tell that he loves the club and you can tell that he fights for the club. There are so many players in this team which I love, but I get the impression don't really, love the club as Mancini does. Mancini, I think, is one of the few players which I can see playing for Roma for his entire career. And I'm happy because he's satisfied about this. I am happy because, as I said before, the characteristics of Mancini are very aggressive characteristics. He's a very strong mentality. And I think, again, he's young and he can improve a lot. Depending, obviously, on the players we will buy in the defensive section, players like Smalling, and these players, I see Mancini having a bright future at the club. And so it is official, Mancini has officially renewed his contract until 2027, and this is the most important thing which happened today. Now, in this live stream, obviously we're going to talk about this, but we're also going to talk about a few other things, and how this fact of Mancini renewing his contract kind of has an effect on Zaniolo. Now, it feels like everything right now which happens in the club links with Zaniolo, but this does link with the Zaniolo situation, and we will talk about that as well. So if you haven't already, ladies and gentlemen, make sure to smash the subscribe button and also smash the like button in this live stream. And there isn't much to talk about when it comes to the actual deal. Mancini's renewed his contract until 2027. I think he is going to have a slight increase in his wages. So that is definitely something which he'll benefit from. But, I wanted to go live today to not, speak about Mancini renewing his contract. Because at the end of the day, the most important thing is that he renewed until 2027. And that's it. But this thing of Mancini renewing his contract, I think, is having even more negative vibes being pushed around the Zaniolo situation. Now, we discussed how Thiago Pinto and the Fredkins said, over the course of July and August, I will not focus on renewing contracts. I won't focus on doing that right now. I will only focus on renewing the players' contracts around the start of September, end of August, potentially also moving into the middle end part of September. This is something which Thiago Pinto has said. I will not be available when it comes to fixing our contracts and renewing contracts right now, because I can spend this time buying new players. And that is what Zaniolo retrieved from this. Now, today Mancini has renewed his contract, and this does mean that to Zaniolo this isn't good, because Zaniolo after this feels like he's really being played around, because you told me that you were gonna sort out contracts at the end of August, start of September, but today you've sorted out Mancini's contracts, but when I ask you about my contract, you don't do anything. That's what Zaniolo's thinking about today. And that is exactly why we've discussed already the primary reason, in my opinion, of why Zaniolo wants to leave. Because Zaniolo has understood that he's been put on the transfer list. Because otherwise, if Zaniolo was not going to be put on the transfer list, then Zaniolo would go, well, you've sorted out Mancini's contract the 12th of July, now you can sort out mine. So this is even more important to Zaniolo, which suggests to him that Roma has decided to put him on the transfer list. And I think that is why Zaniolo wants to leave. Realistically speaking, deep down, every single minor detail of why Zaniolo wants to go to Juventus, I think dates back to this. Because Zaniolo feels disrespected. Zaniolo, scored the winning goal, scored 3 goals against Bodo, And, the fans love him, he loves the fan, he loves the club and all of that. But the fact that the Fredkins have said, I am going to put you on the transfer list. If a big offer approaches, you will leave. I will get a lot of money from it. That is, at the end of the day, the reason why he wants to leave. And I think this is a clear, it couldn't be more clear. This is gonna alarm Zaniolo again. And potentially, obviously, I'm not saying the fact that Mancini renew his contract will be the decisive factor of Zaniolo joining Juventus, because it won't, because Zaniolo isn't a child. At the end of the day, if you leave for Juventus, and he gets interviewed in the first day of Juventus, he won't say, right, I'm here because that guy renewed his contract and they didn't allow me to renew it. That, yes, it will have an impact on this Zaniolo situation. It will not be the decisive impact, because it won't. But it definitely plays a big part, because Zaniolo right now feels, I wouldn't say disrespected, but feels like the club doesn't care about him right now. Because, as I repeat, for new entries, for new people who just joined, at the start of the transfer market, Thiago Pinto said, I will fix contracts out at the end of August, start of September, and today Mancini renewed his. Because, realistically speaking, right, Zaniolo wants to leave and wants to go to Juventus, but trust me, if right now, tomorrow, Thiago Pinto presents an offer to him to renew his contract, I think Zaniolo would accept it. Because, as I repeat, the only reason why I think Zaniolo wants to leave is because he feels disrespected by the club, which are not putting his renewal of contract as a priority. And that is exactly what I feel is happening. So it will have an impact. The fact that Mancini has renewed his contract will, be an impact. But, right. Speaking about Zaniolo, again, as I said before, these are very hot days when it comes to this Zaniolo situation. So we'll talk about that in a sec. Today the team has left for Portugal. They're in Portugal right now. Tomorrow they will be playing the second friendly match against Sunderland. And today, this morning, Zaniolo did leave with the team, which is, it's positive. It's something, because obviously if Mourinho said, right, you're not coming with us, then that basically meant that Zaniolo was going to leave 100%. Zaniolo did go to Portugal with his teammates. However, this morning, when the team trained at Trigoria before departing for Portugal, Zaniolo specifically asked Mourinho if he could train by himself and not with his teammates. What does that mean? That inevitably means that he wants to leave. And I'm going to say this again, because I know there are new subscribers here, which are probably asking, would you let Zaniolo go? My answer, unfortunately, is yes. Because I like Zaniolo. I love Zaniolo. Zaniolo has been a big part of the Conference League. A big part in the Conference League. But everything dates back to the heart that you dedicate to the team. Realistically speaking, right? Imagine Zaniolo at the end of the transfer market doesn't go to Juventus and is stuck in Rome when he wants to leave. And he will always have, throughout the entire season, this Juventus mind block whenever he plays. Whenever he plays, he could go, I could have joined for Juventus. God damn it. I could have been there. I wanted to go there. That means that you will not fully concentrate on the season. If he wants to leave, he needs to leave. It's been a pleasure having you. It's been a pleasure watching you. But unfortunately, if deep down in your heart you're like, right, I want Juventus, it's like an obsession for him, then he needs to leave. Because as I said, this is something which I was watching before on Sky Sports Italy, many people are confirming. The second Zaniolo leaves, Roma will 90% get Dybala. And if you put Dybala's talent next to Zaniolo's talent, I'm saying talent, it's uncomparable right now. Zaniolo can become better than Dybala. But until he doesn't want to play for a club, until he's like, in his mind, god damn it, Zaniolo won't go anywhere. And this is something he needs to learn by himself. So, who knows? But, this fact of Mancini renewing his contract definitely had a negative impact on Zaniolo himself. And plus today, there were images of the team. There were images of the team on the plane. Zaniolo's by himself with his AirPods and all of that. You can tell. Yes, I hate to say it, but there are so many different little details, different hints, which inevitably say that Zaniolo wants to leave, and that is the reality. He loves the club, but he wants to leave, and if he wants to leave, he needs to leave. That is my conclusion. Anyways, last 2 points of this live stream, which are kind of, because nothing special has happened today. However, Thiago Pinto is currently in Milan, and he's having 2 different meetings in the next, he will have 2 different meetings in the next couple of hours. He is currently having right now a meeting with Monza, because Monza are interested in Villar, which is a player which I would have personally kept, but I'm not the boss. Mourinho's the boss. Mourinho doesn't like him, and Monza are very interested in Villar. I think if we can sell Villar, we can potentially get around 15 million from that deal, which would be good. And yeah, so right now Thiago Pinto is in Milan discussing that and seeing if Monza, how much Monza will offer and all of that, because they are interested in Villar. Now, after that, Thiago Pinto will have another meeting about Fratesi. Now, we have been talking about Fratesi since the day I finished school, which is almost a month ago now. And we were very close, then we were further apart, and we're back close again, and all of that. But there is still no bloody agreement between the two sides. Today, Thiago Pinto is having another meeting with the Sassuolo board. And he has said, he will say in this meeting, if by Thursday I don't get an answer, I will not be interested in Fratesi anymore. It's as simple as that. Thursday, potentially Friday, is the deadline. This week, let's put it in that bracket. This week is the deadline for Fratesi. If Sassuolo is keen on letting Fratesi go, get some money from that, get some academy players from that, they need to say yes. Otherwise, we need to get players. We need to give Mourinho players. And you've probably read today that Mourinho said that he's unsatisfied by this transfer market. What I will say is, yes, it's not the greatest of transfer markets, but I will definitely say that is strategic from Jose. It is strategic. Because he's not unhappy with the players we have, he's unhappy with the timing Thiago Pinto's having, which is clear, something which I want to point out. But that is 80% strategic, 100%. It's like playing, what's that game? It's like playing, what's that game? The chessboard with the ships, and you need to guess and kind of blow them up. That game, it's strategic. He's done this in a very strategic way. He's putting pressure on Thiago Pinto and has put pressure on Thiago Pinto. This means that Thiago Pinto will accelerate everything. So yes, potentially 20% of this is Mourinho potentially not being satisfied about the transfer market, but 80% of this is strategic. Bear that in mind. Because if he said that, Thiago Pinto knows that he's under pressure and needs to accelerate stuff. So that is definitely something strategic. The last thing which I will say is about Zaha, because Crystal Palace apparently are very, very, very interested on buying Felix and are ready to offer around 10 million to 12 million euros for Felix. However, there could be kind of negotiation where Zaha pops in and all of that. But Zaha remains a very hot deal. I think the Zaha deal can happen even if Zaniolo doesn't leave. The Dybala deal, I think, is all on Zaniolo. Imagine if we get Dybala and Zaha and then Zaniolo stays. That would be great. But that, we would have too many attackers up front. So Zaha, I think we could even buy if Zaniolo stays. But Dybala, I think, is linked with Zaniolo. And the last final thing is that Corles Perez has officially asked to get sold. I know Spanish clubs are interested in him, and some Italian clubs are interested in him as well. So this morning, before the team deported for Portugal, he has officially asked that he wants to be sold. And we need to sell some players. I think the players which we need to sell are Carles Perez, Diawara, Villar, El Shaarawy potentially, and all of these players, and we can fuel up quite some money from that. And last thing is that Kluivert hasn't left with the team for Portugal because he has a slight muscle problem. However, in these last couple of hours, journalists are actually saying that if an offer approaches for Justin Kluivert, unfortunately he will leave. He's a player which I would have kept. He is a Roma player right now, but if an offer approaches, if a suitable offer approaches, Kluivert will leave. I think Kluivert needs to stay, but again, I'm not the boss and I can't decide anything. So yeah, these were the news of today. The biggest one being obviously Mancini renewing his contract until 2027. He loves the club and all of that. So yeah, I agree. I'm very happy about this. He's a truly committed player for us who clearly shows his love for the club. He's a great example, good defender, and he will get even better with Jose. This is Eddie Pegas. In my opinion, Zaniolo should take the hint that he's obviously asking for too much considering his mediocre quality this season. Yeah, that is definitely a hit. What did Zaniolo do? His starting is very much for him. He's pampered because of talent. Zaniolo last season, as much as I remember played good against Bodo in a few games, he always slowed attack. I mean, it's not remembering. It's the reality. Unfortunately, last season he did not perform well. So yeah. If he likes, leave. If he wants to leave, leave. Our focus is on the transfer of people coming in. Leave him. He will have less playing out. So if he sees what I know, he needs to stay. Somebody needs to remind Zaniolo that he's not nearly in top form. It's a shame he's more worried about his salary than improving his game. And yeah, that's kind of what football has evolved in these days, unfortunately. Money first and passion second. Nobody wants to pay Roma's asking price. How can anyone justify that price? Yeah, I agree. I think even if I were a club, I would never pay that amount of money for Zaniolo. But, there are clubs which are free of paying those prices, and they can potentially see something from Zaniolo. Who knows? Juventus are definitely keen on him. And will try and spend that amount of money, especially if De Ligt leaves and all of that. I agree, man. I think Kluivert has a lot of talent and can be a boost to us on the left wing. Imagine a front three of Kluivert, Abraham, Zaniolo. I think I would keep Kluivert as well. But I don't get why Mourinho doesn't like these players. Even Villar. I think Villar has incredible talent. But who knows? We'll see what happens. It isn't confirmed that Kluivert will leave, but he hasn't left for Portugal for a muscle problem. But, could potentially mean that he's having many offers, and who knows. But in the next couple of hours, hopefully we'll get some very important news on Fratesi, if not tonight. But yeah, if you haven't already, ladies and gentlemen, make sure to smash the subscribe button and also share the link of my channel with your families and friends. Also make sure to smash the like button in this video as well, and comment in the comments comment in the comments as soon as this video ends. One word to describe Mancini. And yeah, follow me on Instagram over there in the orange box over at Simon_ASR_, and I'll catch you tomorrow with more transfer news, hopefully announcing a player. Thiago Pinto.